We'll be out there as well on Monday, and we're looking forward to that. Always enjoy being out at spring training. We'll be doing the Burns Gambo show live from 2 until 6 in the middle of Cactus League action. I'm not sure who they're playing at Salt River Fields, but we'll be out there. In the meantime, though, conversation still is on the Phoenix Suns, and it got to the point, Gambo, where I was even going to, include what happened in the NBA last night in the Western Conference. Denver won again. The Lakers won again.
Clippers lost.
The Clippers lost.
To Milwaukee on the road.
But it's like, does it even matter?
Because that's where, if you're going to pick up a game, that's when you're going to pick up a game. The Clippers are on the road against Milwaukee. You're playing the Spurs with no Wembanyama.
I know.
They lose, you win, pick up a game.
But if you can't beat the Spurs, there's a pointlessness to it where you just go, I could follow the other games in the West and see where the things are with the standings. And I'm having an emotional reaction to what happened last night. Eventually, at some point, I'll start paying attention to what happened to the other teams in the West. Just when you can't beat the Spurs, you just wonder as 27 games now to go. We still got a long way. I mean, there's still plenty of basketball to be played. And I promise you, this is not hey, buck up, everybody. Anything can happen. The Suns still have a shot at this. This is more of they've got 27 games to go. And I would imagine that the decision makers on this organization have a lot of thoughts about what they need to do when this season is done, given the massive level of failure that this season has been.
Yeah, I think in the meantime, I think what you'll look at is, you mentioned it, right? I mean, they spent a lot of time in the break trying to come up with a 9-man rotation.
Yeah, 9-man is what Coach Bud said. Yeah, 9-man.
Yeah. I think you could see some changes. Next game is what, Saturday against Chicago?
Correct, yes.
I mean, we might be seeing the end of Tyus Jones as the starting point guard.
Okay.
Like, I think that's a real possibility here.
Long overdue.
Defensive liability. I think put Bradley Beal back in there, try to win with your best players. And I think you'll probably, this is what I think, okay? I think you're going to see a lot more Nick Richards. What did he play? How many minutes did he play last night?
Was it 6?
It's not going to be much.
9.
He's going to play more.
9. He played 9 minutes.
Okay. This is what I would expect, think, whatever you want to say. I think the end is near for Tyus Jones being the starting point guard. It doesn't work. Everybody said they needed a point guard. They got a point guard. It's not working. You're still going to try to make changes to salvage this season. We could sit here and look at the offseason and trade in Durant all we want, but they're not doing that now. Okay, I assure you, they're trying to figure out a way to get in the freaking play-in tournament. Because it would be a humiliating embarrassment for a $450 million payroll team to be a lottery team and have that pick go to the Houston Rockets, and who knows where it ends up.
You think?
So we have two ways of looking at things. They're going to make a lot of changes in the offseason. Those are coming. We could discuss what those are going to be. But in the meantime, I think what you're going to see is a commitment to maybe have Tyus out of the starting spot and play Nick Richards more and get Dunn more playing time. So 3 things for me. I think Tyus will lose his starting job. I think they will play Dunn more, and I think they will play Nick Richards more, because they have to. They have to give the younger, more athletic guys an opportunity to play. And the Tyus thing is, I don't know what happened to Tyus. I mean, it's a huge mystery to me. This guy was such a good basketball player when Ja Morant went out with Memphis 2 years ago. He was so good. And for him to come here and not be able to, be a factor in any of these games is just mind-boggling. So that's the changes. I think you might see him, you might see him by tomorrow when they take on the Chicago Bulls at, whatever time they're playing.
6 o'clock tomorrow night, I think. 5 o'clock tomorrow night.
6 o'clock?
Yeah,
okay.
But, and I got this from Dwayne Rankin on AZ Central as part of his game story. But Dwayne, and it just so everybody knows, we trust our own Kellen Olson when it comes to covering the Phoenix Suns, but he doesn't travel with the team. Dwayne does. So a lot of times when they're on the road, Dwayne is a great source of information for what they're saying and things like that. Coach Bud and his coaching staff apparently mapped out a 9-man rotation during the All-Star break. They started the game last night with Jones, Booker, Royce O'Neal, Kevin Durant, and Nick Richards. Beal, Allen, Bull, and Mason Plumlee came off the bench. And for the most part, those were the only 9 guys that played last night for the Suns. And even Richards, as I mentioned, only played 9 minutes. So you're really talking about 8 guys who got the bulk of the minutes. And I don't even think Bull played that many minutes either. So now you're talking about 7 guys who got the bulk truly of the minutes last night. And the Ryan Dunn thing was baffling. The Nick Richards, his plus minus wasn't great. You kind of the liability that he was out there. But again, he's a young athletic player on a team that is neither young nor athletic. So the ones that you've got, you'd think you'd want to play. So those are two, Ryan Dunn getting more playing time, Nick Richards getting more playing time, Tyus Jones coming off the bench. I mean, this is truly, but we saw the level of desperation a week ago. Okay, we saw Ty Washington getting minutes, right? And we saw who was the other one whose name
Colin Gillespie.
Thank you, Colin Gillespie getting minutes.
I know my son's bench guys.
You I was blanking on the name. I'm like, the guy from Philly, the guy who dropped an S-bomb live on the air, Colin Gillespie. Coach Bud reached the desperation phase in reaching to those guys to see if they could bring anything. Man, if we have not reached the desperation phase of, hey, let's give Ryan Dunn more than 20 seconds and see what he can do. Let's put Nick Richards out there. Let's give Nick Richards more playing time over Mason Plumlee to see what he can do. I know what we promised Tyus Jones in the offseason. Man, we're in the fight for our lives right now.
I think it's coming to an end. And maybe tomorrow. I think it's going to come to an end. You just can't do it. I mean, you got common sense here. It's not working. Tyus Jones needs to be out of the starting lineup. And whatever you promised him, I mean, if you did promise him, I don't know. But I think you've got to put Beal back in the starting lineup, and you got to try to win with your best players.
Yeah.
Beal's a better player than Tyus Jones. And so, to me, I think the first thing I do, Beal back in the starting lineup, Tyus Jones to the bench. I would do this tomorrow against Chicago. And then I'm going to make a commitment to play Dunn and Nick Richards more because they're younger and they're athletic, and that's what they need.
Thanks for watching Burns Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.